You have been sold a bill of goods, a list of things that people say you are supposed to want. And then when you get those things, you will be happy. For example, when you get a new Mercedes-Benz or BMW or other luxury car, you will have arrived and you will be happy. When your body or your teeth or your skin or your hair finally looks a certain way, you will be beautiful or handsome and you will be happy. When your home has a certain square footage with a certain kind of kitchen countertop and a certain kind of bathroom flooring, and you're sleeping on a certain kind of mattress on top of certain kinds of sheets, wearing certain designers' clothing, sending your children to a certain kind of school, you will be happy. Obviously, I'm hitting on a lot of what you would see on television. I'm not blaming television, so let's take television out of it. Let's pretend there's no such thing as television. The only advertising you see is what you see when you go to work or when you go to the grocery store. And what do you see? You see a range of vehicles on the road, some beaters, and some really nice cars, depending on which area you live in. The neighborhood I live in, every once in a while you might see a Bentley. I've even seen a Lamborghini, a couple Ferraris, lots of Porsches, lots of Mercedes-Benz and BMWs, and then, more middle-class cars like my family would drive: a Honda, Mazda, Nissan, Toyota, Hyundai, some new, some old, whatever. Okay, so you would see those and you would think, well, people driving the newer, nicer cars also tend to have newer, nicer clothing, and I tend to see those cars parked in front of newer, nicer homes, so I guess they must be happier. And maybe they are. I'm not saying they're not. But I'm saying that, and maybe you didn't notice it, but I did it on purpose. I kept saying newer, nicer, as if that was an indication of any kind of value. Because we've been taught at a very subconscious level that newer and nicer is better, and we don't even question it. That's what you and I have been taught. That's not true. I drive a 13-year-old car that I love. Now, I will admit that at the time that I bought it because it was one of the cheapest cars on the lot. And I didn't have the budget for a newer, nicer car. But as I've driven this car, it's almost, 14 years old now. 89,000 miles on it. You don't need newer and nicer. And I guess what's getting me today is that I see so many people putting themselves through hell at a job that they hate. Like, people cannot stand their jobs. They get physically ill when they come to work. They take sick days all the time because they can't stand being there. When they are at work, all they do is complain about work because they can't stand the fact that they're there, and they're all doing that to pay for the stuff. Now, this is a very tired message. I'm not going to beat a dead horse. You've heard probably Alan Watts and then other people ripping off Alan Watts, talking about how it's absolutely stupid to work at a job you hate to own stuff that you don't need. But that message has been so thoroughly ingrained in most Americans' subconscious that we don't even question the fact that we need newer and better. And if you wanted to try a fun experiment next time you're at lunch with a large group from work, throw out the idea that maybe we don't always need newer and better, and wouldn't it be great if everybody was just satisfied with what they had And instead of conspicuous consumption, we went for voluntary simplicity. And I promise you, within a minute or two, somebody will throw out the, I don't know what you call it, but the argument that, well, if everybody did that, the economy would collapse. So they throw out an all or nothing argument rather than having a logical, rational discussion about what you're suggesting. Which tells you that you're on the right track because you've hit a nerve, and they're so afraid of what you're saying that they can't even talk about it. Here's today's homework assignment. Ask yourself why you do what you do. Why are you at your job? Do you love what you do? Is it interesting? Do you complain a lot at work, or do you complain a lot about work when you get home? Or do you have to eat a pint of ice cream or drink a couple of beers or glasses of wine when you get home to drink off work? If that's you, why in the world are you doing that? Why are you killing yourself with food or alcohol or stress for crap you don't need? What if you had to give up your big house and move into an apartment or a small condo or something, and you had to return or sell your Benz or your top of the line Honda or Toyota, you know, the EXL Honda, I don't know. I guess the Odyssey. That's the kind we drive. We drive a 2010 LX. I mean, I'm not knocking any of that stuff. It's great. It's nice not having a car that smells. I feel bad for my wife. Her van's kind of smelling a little bit because it's almost 7 years old and it's got 105,000 miles on it. And it smells like kids have been in the car for the last 7 years. But she's got a catering business that she loves doing, and she's got Mary Kay stuff that she likes selling. She's doing it right. She didn't sign up for a job she hates. She's tried that in the past, and she's not doing it again. And I like my job. It's interesting. I get to solve problems and be analytical, and I also get to talk to a lot of people and try to help people, and I've got a lot of, I wouldn't call it downtime, but I have interval time where I can try to help people on the side. So I've got a great job. And I've kept my spending small, very intentionally, buying older used cars, moving from one apartment to the next to keep our rent stable rather than going up, not buying new clothes all the time. So yeah, I don't look super cool, man. I mean, obviously, right? But I can also sit in this room in the dark and stare at nothing for an hour and be happy because I know that I don't need all that crap. And I'm not eating or drinking myself to death with stress. So, just think about it. Why are you doing what you're doing? And don't ever forget that you're awesome. Alright?